show. My name is Lynn, and this is the show about Batman. We are going to start the show this week with our interview with Darol.
Okay. Hey, Darol, how are you? Thanks so much for being on the show.
Hi, I'm fine. I'm a little bit jet lagged. I only wish we had two cameras so I didn't have to fly over there.
We got a lot of questions from players, but first, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, like you might probably know me, most of you have been, most Finns have actually been able to see me at Conplaces, but my name is Darol in the game, and I'm an Archwizard, and I think, let's say, in real life, I live in Jyväskylä, central Finland, and I've been wizard since 2005. So it's been 7 years. Actually, it's been exactly 7 years because this is the Independence Day of Finland, and I actually visited exactly 7 years ago when it was the Independence Day of Finland as well. So this is quite a coincidence.
Wow. So you are the Archwizard who's in charge of Batmud lore. Can you tell us what that means?
Yeah, sure. I think that, it's a little bit difficult to explain without telling something about Archwizards themselves. I'd say that we do not have very strict administration, so a lot of Archwizards are in charge of pretty much everything that they are asked. So, but for example, it means that there are some kind of storyline issues that, let's put it this way: the games are already 20 years old. We have all kinds of references from Tolkien books and Dragonlance. We have actually Smurfs and this paints some kind of picture. We don't have very unified storyline, and everything is kind of like, not well connected. So one of the things is that we are trying to perhaps look for ways to make the game look like it has a storyline of its own. And in the past, we have tried to make that, for example, if you have visited the website, you can see I think it's on the, some page anyway, there is this world descriptions, and there are these graphical maps, and you may click them and get the background story for the continent. One of these things that I've been thinking for this last year is that it would be very nice that we could get the continent descriptions, or more or less, if you read the continent descriptions, you can see that we mention a few kingdoms. For example, in Lenor, there are 3 kingdoms, and none of them can actually be seen in the game very well. We do not have any references to these kingdoms, and I think in the future it would be nice that if we would be able to somehow make the kingdoms look like, how to say, more part of the game. For example, we have the Arelium, which is the main city that replaced the old Bat City, and that is supposed to be the capital city of the kingdom of Agathoria, which is the kingdom of humans. Then there is this kingdom of Dunbanor, which is the kingdom of dwarves. So we have all these storylines, but we haven't been able to incorporate them to the game very well, and that is something that perhaps we could be doing better in the future.
Wow, that's really interesting. I actually didn't know about those, so interesting. We want to know, do you have a girlfriend, and what kind of girls do you like?
Well, I'm not dating anyone. I guess what kind of girls I like? Well, it depends. I think that different people have different kind of qualities that are likable. Well, I think a good sense of humor, perhaps. Well, I kind of like witty people. I think that every couple should at least have one. Well, it depends. I think it's difficult to label people just like between in different qualities. I think that some people can be even with different qualities. I think that some people can be quite in a different, unique way.
That's interesting. I also think a good sense of humor is really important. We heard a rumor that the new evil priests are going to be out in 2 weeks. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I think that 2 weeks is an accurate enough to say if we are talking about 2 weeks that is common in Batmud. So yeah, but the 2 weeks, well, I'd say that they are not going to be open for Christmas, although I think that was originally the plan a year ago. But now it seems like the next summer might be a little bit more accurate. The new evil priests are going to be a little bit different than the current ones. Mainly because there are going to be 4 guilds in total, but there are going to be 2 main branches. One of them is about Virgil Fluga, which is the frog god, and the other one is Heliana, which is the newest addition to the pantheon. And the one branch is about the concepts such as death, poison, then there is something swamp tending. Basically, it's about Virgil Fluga lives on the swamp, so the followers are going to it looks like swamp gardening, kind of like Farmville on Facebook, but well, it's something to do. But anyway, the other branch, Heliana, is about more about manipulation of information and people. One of the concepts is going to be divination, seeing to the past and to the future. So, and that is going to be a challenge, and we will see how I'm going to pull it off because, it is not exactly easy thing to program something so that you could get information from the future. So it's going to need a lot of information, and I'm excited about the theme, but we will see if the implementation is as good as the idea. So we'll see.
Yeah, we're all looking really forward to having it out. What's your favorite type of alcohol?
Well, my favorite type of alcohol is free, and the second best is I like vodkas, then I like some whiskeys. In the previous take, I had a bottle to show you. Now I only have the glass. But I have some other ones. Here we have this. I think that it will take a few takes and we don't have this anymore as well. Then there's this domestic beer that I lobbied in a previous take as well. So here it is. Okay. Well, anyway, I think I don't have that many favorites. I think usually before I was more into vodkas, but now I think it's more into whiskeys, and I like some rums, but it seems like whatever I have, everything goes. So, no.
Nice. Why did you decide to become a wizard?
Well, I think that I've been interested in developing games for a long time, and I had been a wizard. I still am actually in a smaller environment, and before I decided to become wizard in Batmud, before I was chosen to, I had been wizard in a different mod for about 7 to 10 years or So I wasn't entirely new to the experience. Of course, developing for Batmud is a little bit different because it has always like 200 players, almost always online, and smaller mods. Well, there are some of those that might have only 20 players. So I think that the coding is a little bit different when there is a bigger audience. So, but fundamentally, it's going to be it's very similar. So I already knew what I was going to be jumping into. So.
Do you have any regrets that you don't have a player anymore?
Well, I don't think I have any regrets because I already knew what I was going to be doing, and although I like to play, but I think that for me it wasn't that much a choice that I would have regretted. I think that we have some people who decide to become wizards, and they are wizards for a while, and then they become mortals again because they like the playing so much more. But for some of those people, there is also that perhaps they are not quite sure what they're getting into. So perhaps being a wizard is not for everyone. So it's mostly it's a boring coding, programming. It's not necessarily an interesting thing to do, but for me it works.
Well, thank you so much for doing it because we really appreciate it.
Well, I'm doing it also for the players, but also for myself because I enjoy it as well. But of course, I'm glad if there are people who appreciate what I'm doing. So I probably wouldn't find the same kind of motivation if there wasn't going to be players around. So thank you first up.
Is there anything else you want to tell us?
Well, I had this area planned for that was going to be appearing this at the end of this year, but I think that because we are making a new tutorial system for the new players so that they would be able to get into the game and have a little bit easier start. So I think that new area is going to be delayed somewhere to the next year. It was mentioned in the last year's State of the Mud post on Inform group, but like always, when we're dealing with volunteers, it's quite natural that all of those projects just won't make it by the deadlines because, let's face it, our deadlines can be quite loose sometimes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that newbie tutorial you just said?
Yeah, sure. Me and Heidel or Heidel, I don't know how I'm supposed to pronounce his name. He can come and tell him in the next show, I guess. No, that's a challenge to him. But anyway, we are making this newbie tutorial for new players. The idea is that like many commercial games, you have this let's say that we have this thing that we get some players, and there are many players that are not so new to this kind of environment. The graphic commercial games they are a little bit more easy to understand when compared to Batmud, which still operates on through telnet connections. We have the Bat client, which is made with Java, but I think that even today it's not enough to. We need to be able to tell the players better how to play the game, and also we are planning to make some sort of beginning storyline that the new players can follow because. I have this example that I always say that sometimes I look at the Newbie channel and there is a new player asking, what am I supposed to do in this game? and then somebody gives you the advice by telling, well, it's up to you. You can do whatever you want to. But when you think about it, we have areas that contain about 16,000 different kind of rooms, and then there are a few areas that are suitable for newbies. Well, it's a little bit too much to start with, and I think it would be better if there was some kind of storyline to follow. So it would make it more interesting to the player, and it would be good because it would allow us to present some specific content to the new players, so that, well, let's say we have a lot of content that are not necessarily up to date because the game is old. We have some code and areas that are last modified 15 years ago. They are not necessarily something that we would want to show the newbies in the beginning. We would rather begin with something that we know is of higher quality before they actually enter some of these areas that are a little bit more high-beer oriented, I think.
That sounds really good. All right, Darol, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. And if you want me to appear some other time, well, I think that is probably something that can be arranged. But I really enjoyed being in this show and giving some insight from my own personal perspective.
Thank you.
All right, and that's our show for this week. Next week, we're featuring a new segment that's called Batmud Secrets. My favorite website is called postsecret.com, and that's where people send in their secrets from all over the world, and someone puts them up on the internet, and they're really interesting to read. And so we're going to do the same thing on our show. So if you have a Batmud-related secret, send it anonymously to our show's email address, which is thebatmudshow@gmail.com. And next week, we're going to read Batmud's secrets. Also, next week, we're going to do that Ask Batmud segment where the question was, tell us about your favorite EQ experience. So, if you still haven't told us but want to, there's still time. All right, thank you so much for watching.